Draft Chaff. Coming up this week, look at that shirtless Johnny. Look at that hunk.
God, he's hot, dude. It was pretty fun. It kind of set up like loot and everything, right? I don't know how I feel about that, but it's something.
It did something for the lore. We don't really know what, though. They messed up otters, dude. They messed up otters. And they messed up birds.
Oh, actually, you're right, the 5.
What's up, aficionados? Welcome back to Draft Chaff. I'm Ben, one of your hosts, and joining me on the line is Tyler, Draft Dad? Draft Daddy?
I was going to say, I like Draft Daddy more, I think, now that I think about it. I think I'm going to change it to that.
Yeah.
It's been a year, hasn't it? It's been, since last year we recorded, actually, at this point. I can make that joke still, right? It's 4 days after New Year's.
The statute of limitations is not yet up. I mean, those that listened before know that we were on a hiatus because you're a father now. That's awesome.
Father. Dude, it's a big change. You know, she cannot hold her cards up yet, dude. I beat her every time. I don't know, man. She's a red mage, too. It's just not working out.
She'll get there. She'll get there. Soon, maybe like 2 or 3 more months, she'll be as probably good as like a bronze player.
Sure, man. Yeah, no, I got her set up an arena already. We're good.
All right. Well, we are stoked to get back into a little bit of draft chaff. You know, we love our draft chaff here. And it's been too long since we talked about any kind of chaff at all. Before we get into, honestly, just discussing all the chaff of the past year, we got a couple of reminders. If you're not in the Discord, hop back into the Discord. It's where all the best conversations happen regarding the nonsense that we do here. You can post your trophies, which we all love to do. You can, try to catch up to us in our trophy posting. We have a nice way of keeping track of the number of trophies that have been posted over there. You can see any other stuff that's going on. We usually try to post the news. I think there's Arena Open coming up for Pioneer Masters. I don't like that format very much, but I'll probably still try it. And a link to the Discord is on Twitter and in the episode description. And speaking of Twitter, we have a bit of a giveaway going on. As of this episode being live, there's also a giveaway live on Twitter for not just a card. I see these little giveaways for like deck boxes or cards or whatever. We're giving away a whole box of MH3. Look at that shirtless Johnny. Look at that hunk.
God, he's hot, dude.
Now, you'll notice this is a fresh box. This is one of the ones that I won from the Arena Direct event. And I've somehow managed to leave 2 fully uncracked. So maybe another giveaway, or maybe I save it for our next draft day. I don't know.
Very strong will. Those would not be sealed in my house.
Well, here's the thing. I've sated my desire to crack packs by fully cracking, like a Foundations box or something.
Okay.
In the meantime. Anyway, now you may have been pointed here from Twitter to get that extra entry that was mentioned. To get an extra entry into this giveaway, just in the comment section of that tweet, just let us know what you loved about Magic in 2024, or maybe something you're looking forward to in 2025, which honestly, there's a lot to look forward to and a lot to enjoy. So it shouldn't be too hard to come up with something there. And that'll get you an extra entry, and we will announce the winner of the giveaway on our next episode. And as always, a huge thank you to all of our patrons who have supported us from the very beginning and all the nonsense that we do here. A lot of cool perks over on Patreon. We have our Draft Chaff Heroes stickers. And actually, there's something else in the works that, Tyler, I haven't even told you about.
I was going to say, I don't even know what we're talking about.
There's another little perk coming down the pipeline that personally I'm very excited for. We're going to skip the crack a draft thing today. There's too many sets to pick from. I just want to talk Magic. And typically for the first episode of the new year, we discuss all the Magic that happened in the previous year, what was going on. So I thought it'd be nice to, before we get into the Magic, talk about what's been up with you. I mean, you're a dad now, right?
Yeah, dude, it's weird. It's life-changing. And like, I don't know, people always talk about like kids will change you. And like, I don't know. I always thought it was kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's just part of life, right? But it really does. It's unique. I don't know. It's nothing like I expected. It's great. It's interesting. Learning a lot. It's weird to see her change so much too. Cause you'll like look at photos of her from when she was first born, she was born on 10/23, and this like almost over 2 months ago now. She doesn't look like the same person. Like she looks like she's like metamorphosized into like this new thing, like that's not the same baby. She got switched somewhere. But they really do grow and change pretty quick. She smiles at me, my wife, now when like we pick her up, and she'll like try to like coo and talk to us. and then throw up all over us too. So there's a change.
I was gonna ask, is you got like a particular rose and a thorn of fatherhood?
I mean, watching her grow is just so magical. Like, I could see myself in her. I could see my wife in her. It's so strange to know, like, this is like a part of me in like a way that like nothing else can exist like that. Yeah, it's like almost like a connection that it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But dude, the amount of like poop and throw up is just so much. Dude. Like, I don't have to get too gross for the viewers, but dude, you got to have like a stomach if you're gonna have a kid because it's everywhere. There's no way to avoid it.
Man, and yet somehow you must get used to it, right?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of new smells and shit. No, it's been good though. You know, it's definitely been a change. You know, it's your priorities shift too. So like, I haven't been able to play Magic obviously as much, and it's for a good reason. You know, like I'd like to spend time with my daughter, and it just takes a lot of time.
Of course,
it's been good though.
Yeah, I have much less of an exciting life update than that. I'm still teaching. Still got my many kids who they're not quite as gross as yours. In a way, they're all like my children.
Yeah. I'd rather my kid than your kids because I don't know, man. Your work sounds a lot more stressful than what I'm doing with.
I don't know. I mean, given the choice between what you just described and I don't know. Sometimes I wish I cared less about teaching because I think that trying to be a really good teacher in today's socio-political economic climate is maybe not possible.
No, I feel for teachers because you really are like the center of attention for all these things. Like everybody, like you're like the pinpoint where like everybody focuses their anger, even though really you have nothing to do with.
Yeah,
you know, I can only imagine.
It's I don't know. People say it's noble and rewarding and whatnot, but sadly that does not translate to cash in the real world. Yeah. Anyway, I've been honestly scrambling to keep up with this year, but it's been going decently well so far. Been playing a lot of standard. Nice. Been less interested in the limited offerings currently. Pioneer Masters, I have not really enjoyed. I did a couple of drafts, but felt like a bit of a shoehorned format. Yeah. Like, all right, we got to put these cards in Arena. Let's build a set around it.
Try to get some money out of these losers real quick.
yeah. As opposed to Foundations, which I do feel was, meticulously crafted to be a good limited environment.
I feel like we've had a lot of great limited sets this year. And Foundation, I feel like was a great end cap to the year for that.
Yeah.
It felt like a great, I don't know. I'm having a good time with it. You know, and it's obviously a great way to get some good cards. I've got a couple of boxes stored away from my daughter, so I'd still play one day with them too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I've had a couple decent online tournament results recently. I won a couple boxes in the Bloomborough Win a Box event. I won a couple boxes in the Foundations Win a Box event.
Wow.
I did pretty well at CubeCon this year, which more on that later. I think we should start going in chronological order for now.
Sure. Yeah. Ravnica Remastered was this year, dude. Oh my god, what?
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was at real side tangent here. I was at my local Walmart the other day, and they have all the cards behind the counter. You have to ask for them. I was just looking to see what they had. They had this 3-pack of Ravnica Remastered tucked in the corner. I'm like, can I get that real quick?
Wow. So Ravnica Remastered released on January 12th of 2024. Did we play that together? I don't remember.
We did. We did a draft together. We did one because it was a premiere event. We have an Innistrad Remaster coming out. It's not a full release. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a cool set because they had the serialized cards in the collector packs too. You get the collector Shocklands from that and stuff. I got my first. I got a Void Slime.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so it was a fun set, and obviously some great art and a great way to get some shocks for a decent price. I don't remember being too fond of a draft set off the top of my head because I only remember doing it once. It was not an arena available game either.
Yeah, to be honest, besides Shocklands, I don't think I could name a single card in that set.
I think that's the only thing that people cared about. Well, Cyclonic Rift was in it too, so there's some for Commander players, they're like, oh, okay, hold on, there's some stuff in here for us.
Mm-hmm. So that one's a bit of a non-starter, but let's discuss Murders at Karlov Manor, not Markov Manor, which I still felt tempted to say, and I would have said had I not just read it straight off of our show notes. That released February 9th. This was the first set to switch to play boosters. I loved this set.
Yeah, no, I had a good time with it. I don't love the play boosters, and I'm still kind of unsure how I feel about them now. But the set itself was fun. It was the disguise mechanic, right? Was kind of the big selling point for that one, and I had fond memories of that. Yeah, and the lands actually are still pretty prevalent, I think, in a lot of formats, right? Those surveil lands, right?
Yeah. The surveillable fetches. That's definitely a lasting impact that the set's going to have.
I think that's like the only value from that set, because I think those boxes are still like $90 at this point.
Oh wow, yeah, not great, but maybe worth picking up for like a cube day or something, like a draft day. Yeah, I really found that set to be interesting because of the way the format adjusted partway through. If you remember, like at the start of the format, red-white was super dominant, and to a lesser extent, white-blue. It was the red-white sort of go wide and then buff all your guys. And then blue-white was detectives.
Detectives, yeah. That was my favorite.
I like detectives a lot. Yeah, I also have fond memories of red-green, kind of going big and splashing around a little bit with the disguise mechanic. Disguise was pretty interesting. It sort of made us reevaluate how removal spells functioned.
Yeah, because those had Ward 2, right? That was the Ward 2 one. There's a lot of flip cards, I feel like, recently, and they're all blending a little bit.
Yeah. That was sort of what caused black to be worse than usual in that format. Black was the worst color, and it's because removal just isn't as good against when the average creature is more warded than usual.
Yeah. If everything costs 2 more to kill, like kill spells and like shocks just become
the strength of black just that's right. Shock was in that format, and it wasn't even
3 mana shock.
Good, but
but it removes a large portion of why that card was good, to remove early threats. And if you can't target anything that early, like, it kind of feels silly.
Yeah, that's true. The benefit of shock is the mana advantage you get from it, right? But if you're spending 3 mana to kill their 2 mana thing, then not as good.
Still a fun set overall. I gotta say, I don't think there was really any duds in my mind this year.
That's true, but it did sort of it started the domino effect of like Clue. There was a Clue tie-in with like Colonel Mustard, I think, and like there was like there was all sorts of nonsense that began with that set that I feel like we've now seen exacerbated as we've gone further. People are like, why are we doing like a Clue? Like, it was a little bit hokey, I guess is the word, lore wise. So I remember reading the first lore drop from that set, and it was something to the extent of, all right, the invasion of the Phyrexians has been defeated. Everyone's really into detectives now, though. And I'm like, what? Why?
Well, it's like I don't know, like after like some traumatic thing, people are like, let's just cosplay for a little bit. Like, we just gotta cool down.
Everyone got bowler hats and like pea coats. Like, you're telling me that's the lasting socio effects of a foreign alien invasion? Everyone's like, you know what? Let's do a little noir action. And by the way, we already have a plane for that. New Capenna would be the perfect setting for a detective set. Why?
Well, New Capenna was not widely received, I gotta say. Like, I did not want to go back to New Capenna after the previous year. That was one of the worst sets, I think, for that
That's
time.
true. The gameplay really did sour it, which is kind of funny. I think sometimes us limited folks think that like limited gameplay sometimes seems to be the least important aspect of a new set release.
Yeah.
But if the limited gameplay sucks for a set, that's going to ripple effect, and people are going to remember that.
Definitely. God, all right. Next we have Outlaws of Thunder Junction. I can't believe that was this year too, man. Everything feels like 20 years ago. This was another great set. I mean, this is, again, it's like you were saying, a hokey, how we had Karlov Manor. This was like a very Rudy Tooty cowboy point and shooty type of thing, but it was pretty fun. It kind of set up like loot and everything, right? I don't know how I feel about that, but it's something.
It did something for the lore. We don't really know what, though.
But I had fun memories of the set. I had a great time drafting it. I can't remember off the top of my head what I drafted, but I remember it was fun. Oh, it was plot. I love the plot mechanic.
Oh, yeah,
I gotta say, that was my favorite way to play. There's the one, what was it? What's the zombie guy who makes zombies? It was a mythic in that set.
Oh, Gerald?
Yeah, he was that set, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Apparently I don't remember anything, dude.
Oh, my brain is Gisa. Gisa and Gerald were both in that set.
It was a good set. How do you feel about this one? Oh, the big score too. This is me reading the notes for the first time too. Like, being a dad, I feel like I have no time for anything. So I'm like looking at the notes Ben typed up. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened and this happened. I did not like the big score. We can kind of delve into each of these subtopics, but the big score is not.
Yeah, I guess let's hit big score first. So that was a sort of hyper rare bonus sheet
Yeah,
of absolutely busted cards.
that were
And
hard to get.
yeah.
We had like the new sword that was cared about instants and
Mm,
sorceries. Like the prices of those cards just shot up, and
yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't supposed to be a bonus sheet, right? It was supposed to be like kind of like an aftermath set,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But everyone
Okay.
hated Aftermath. So they
And
were
they're like,
like,
let's just stick it all together because there was 3 sets in Outlaws of Thunder Junction,
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. I remember playing a couple games where, they were good,
Yeah,
engaging, and I'm like, wow, anything could happen. And then they drop like Vaultborn Tyrant. And you're like,
yeah,
this
right,
isn't this isn't a real card. Like
yeah.
this just says you win the game.
It didn't. And there was some really dumb cards in the big score too that, like for limited, just didn't make sense. But
Yeah, that just didn't
obviously, roll the
work.
dice.
Artifact payoffs and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, not how I'd prefer to see new cards rolled out. There was also breaking news that I actually was a pretty big fan of. Now, these were non-standard legal reprints of fun, splashy,
Yeah.
crime-themed cards.
Super
Like
cool arts.
Cruel
Yeah,
Ultimatum was in there. That kind of thing I'm a big fan of.
definitely. I don't like that it was not standard legal. I didn't remember if it
Mhm.
was or wasn't. I didn't
It
play
wasn't,
standard at the
yeah.
time. Like that's just confusing to players to include in a standard set.
Yeah.
But it was still a cool night. It's nice to have for like, collectors, obviously like, hey,
Mhm.
these are cool cards to have. Some sweet all arts of these cards. I have fond memories because that's about the same time we did our first cube cabin last year. So we had a couple
Yeah.
drafts of that going on. If I remember correctly, Ryan had a couple Okos and
Well, I remember Ryan's deck. Ryan's deck was just like
so stupid.
you looked at it and you didn't want to play. He
Yeah,
had everything.
everything.
Oh yeah, but that set overall was pretty fun. I remember a green white was a saddle, which
Oh
at first
yes,
seemed kind of
yes,
funny, but they kind of fixed crew for digital, where like when you have a crew thing available, you get priority at every possible stop, right? But saddle can only be done at sorcery speed. So, and it only really makes sense to do in your pre-combat
yeah,
main. So, and that kind of smoothed it out for the digital client, where that's kind of clever. I like seeing that they're considering the digital client, but they're not allowing that to like too heavily
sure,
influence the way they design cards. But the green white deck at its best was one of the best decks of the format. There was also sort of like the Grixis Crimes decks that
yes.
can be pretty good.
It was fun, and I think it was probably one of the most abused bounties we had on on Discord with the crew. What was it, the saddling the saddle or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, it was an
Kind
easy
of
way to
missed
get.
at that one. Nah, overall a good set. It's funny. I had a box of this. It was one of the first ones that I had for Winabox, and I had my student Magic Club just starting to take off. And I was all right. I just couldn't help myself. Foundations was coming out like a week later, and I was like, I got to get some cards in the hands of these
Nice.
kids. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna play Outlaws Sealed. And they're like, yay. And they all open packs and like, what's this do? And I'm like, and they're like, what's plot do? And I'm like, well, you can cast it, but not on your turn. You have to
Should have
plot
waited
it.
for
And they're like,
foundations.
and then they're like, how do you cast something? And I'm like, shoot, I may
Yeah,
have jumped the gun here. And then I'm like, I think I threw them into the fire a little too early.
too early. Yeah,
So I told them the next week, I was like, all right, everyone, you know those decks you had from last week? Toss them to the side. We got something a lot better this time. And Foundations, well, spoilers for later, ended up being the perfect set for new players. And
definitely.
I've seen it work firsthand.
Yeah,
Speaking of banger sets, I mean, this really, as for limited players, this was an undefeated run
definitely.
of Murders, Outlaws, and then Modern Horizons 3, which I think
Ugh,
we both played a ton of.
way too much of, dude. It was like
For
one of
how
the.
expensive it was.
It was like one of the only RCQs. I think we did 2 RCQs of this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't do anything. Like I think I lost every game, but I don't know.
I didn't do very well at these
No,
either.
it's one of those sets. Just like you can keep playing and keep finding new kind of like interactions.
Yeah.
Like it evolved, but nothing felt like too crazy out there. I love the black. I still talk about it. That black red artifacts deck. Like, that was my jam,
god, that deck was
dude.
so good with the rat. What was that
loved it.
thing?
There was that, and then it was the black red like artifact that like gets +1/+0 for each other artifact you have.
The
Was it a
cranial
equipment?
ram.
Cranial ram. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you had the baby worm coil larva
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Man, that deck was sick. Now, here's the cool thing. That artifact vector I have fond memories of the blue-black deck
Mhm.
where you're playing Warren's Soul Trader and then
Yes.
the eel.
Yeah.
What was that thing called?
I was gonna say I can't remember any card names,
Whatever
dude.
the
They all
eel's called.
in one ear at the other for me.
Yeah, it's the 4 mana 0/1 that dies into a 2/2 that dies into a
Oh.
5/5 that dies into a 9/9 or something.
Oh god, Reef.
Reform,
Yeah,
that's
okay,
it.
yeah. I got there.
So then you're playing that with sacrifice outlets, and
Yeah.
you're like chump blocking with your 0/1 and then sacking it at instant speed to make a thing and draw some cards and make some treasure.
It was
And
just
that
so
was
fun.
and that was a deck that was not even really discovered until a month into the format.
Yeah.
And I started getting into towards the end of the format. We haven't even touched Writhing Chrysalis or the
I
Eldrazi
was trying not to talk about Rather
or
Chrysalis.
energy. Yeah, I mean, this was a huge format where somehow the power level of all the cards was, even at common level, so high.
Well, the commons were better than the rares most of the time, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Chrysalis was the card, and it was a common Chrysalis, right?
It was common.
Like so,
Yeah.
like that set was built around commons. It felt like it was built for draft players. Like there was no bomb. Like there's obviously bombs. Like you're gonna pull something crazy, but like it didn't feel overpowered. Like you could still win the game with just a deck of commons. Like the red black deck was just built with commons and uncommons most of the time.
Yeah, you would take sometimes those cranial rams over one of the rare, like what was it, Imskir Iron Eater, the black red rare.
And he was fine for the deck, but you'd rather have an early cranial ram than wait for whatever to get him out.
Yeah, that format was so good.
Makes me want to play it right now, man.
Hold on, I'm gonna crack this box.
I was gonna say, screw it, let's just go draft.
Yeah, man, this was a great set, and it also had some constructed implications that maybe aren't for the best. Energy was clearly dominant.
Yeah.
They inserted some stuff into Modern that was just way
too.
Oh my god, I forgot about Nadu.
Dude, there's so much going on with this set.
How did they not catch Nadu? I mean,
no.
Whatever. The Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride,
Ocelot
Amped
Pride,
Raptor,
wow.
that trifecta of Boros beatdown cards plus a Johnny, which he is on the front of the box for a reason. Of all the flip walkers in the set, he's definitely the best, and is still making splashes and constructed even after now from the recent bannings.
Sure.
Amped Raptor is gone, and the One Ring, which was inexplicably a powerhouse in the Boros Energy deck, is also banned. And the deck is still good.
Yeah, that's the one issue with these modern decks, or modern sets. Every time they come out, they warp the format. And obviously this is something built for that. And Wizards of the Coast wants to make, I guess, the format stronger or make more money by selling more expensive cards and incentivizing you to buy these packs. But for us draft players, I don't really care about those formats as much. And I had a great time with the limited format.
Yeah, honestly, with what we saw from Modern Horizons 3, and then from actually the recent unbannings of Twin and Mox Opal, right?
Yeah, one of the Moxes, yeah.
I can never remember I'm not an old format head, so I don't know. Whatever the Mox is that they unban. And Faithless Looting, that almost solidified Modern as like, all right, I'm actually good on that.
Yeah, we're stronger than
yeah. Maybe Pioneer I'll dabble in. Standard I'll play, but I think I'm gonna I will chalk up Modern to be an old format now. I don't know. I loved Scam when it was a thing, but I think I might be good on that now.
Yeah. Modern's for boomers. Gen Z loves Pioneer. We have to talk about this set. I don't even remember opening this set, dude. Is this even a real Assassin's Creed?
It's not a draftable set. So it doesn't matter. There was an Assassin's Creed set.
It had some cool cards. Like there was Excalibur, which gave your legendary +10/+0, which I ran in one of my commander decks. But
I believe you.
I think I opened one pack of this. We don't really have to talk about this, right?
Well, the reason I wanted to mention it was because it was the first use of Beyond boosters. And do you remember before the play and now Beyond, there were 4 different types. There was set and draft and collector. And I do like that they've consolidated a little bit.
Definitely.
But Beyond boosters are not designed for draft. I think they have 3 commons, 3 uncommons, and a bunch of rares, right? I forget the breakdown. Doesn't matter. Not draftable.
No.
But
yeah, when I opened my first Assassin's Creed pack, I was like, "There's only 8 cards in here." I paid $6 for this.
That's insane. So that's a bit of a grim portent of things to come.
Sure.
But before then, we should mention Bloomborough, which I do see as a slight dip in draft quality, but honestly, not that much. If
No.
all the sets we've described so far, I don't know. What would you say? We can skip Ravnica Remastered. Murders, I would give like a solid 6 or 7 out of 10. What do you think?
Definitely. Yeah. 6. Yeah, I'd say
Outlaws?
6. Outlaws, I'd go up to a 7. I enjoyed it a little more than Murders, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say 7, 7.5, 8. MH3, I mean, that's like,
It's hard to not want to give it a 10 because I can't immediately
Yeah.
think of any flaws. Like, obviously, like Chrysalis was kind of like a sour note. Like, you pick
Yeah.
Chrysalis and
it's like
like
the one issue.
one issue at common too. So you're almost
Yeah.
guaranteed to see it.
9?
9.5 if we're doing halfies.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Bloomborough, 6?
6 or 7 for me. I loved it. You know, not
Yeah.
just taking like just the world building and the art, and I don't know
Mhm.
who doesn't love like an Anthro story, you know?
Yeah, that's
So
true. That's true.
it was a fun set. I didn't yeah, I loved the draft format too. Again, like everything this year felt good. Like I didn't really like
Mhm.
there's no like New Capenna set this year for me. You know?
Yeah.
Like
I
nothing
will
was below a
say,
5 this year.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think Bloomborough got the closest though.
Yeah, really? You feel I liked Bloomborough. What part
I-
of it didn't you feel like what was off for you?
They messed up otters, dude. They messed up
They did
otters.
mess up
And they messed up birds.
Oh, actually, you're right. It's a 5. Well, Otters. Yeah, Otters feels bad because I feel like Otters had the most support. Like there was a lot of rare and mythic Otters in this set, but they just never worked.
they
I
weren't
went
good.
3-0 for my pre-release with Otters though.
Yeah, you had
So-
Ral and like a bunch of busted ones. I remember that deck. That deck
was
was really
good.
good.
But
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, it was very clicky. Like you had to be in your vector. So you're right. The more I think about it, probably closer to a 6 because yeah, you have to stick to your vector. It was hard to splash.
Mhm.
You really couldn't delve from what your deck wanted to do, where you're pretty much in the dust.
And that actually segues into my other knock against it, which is it's one of the worst sealed formats I've ever played. It's
yeah,
if you-
'cause you're
if-
very dependent.
Yeah. If you open, it's like a lottery. I mean, and that you could argue that has become more and more the case with the number of rares and packs.
Sure.
But I would say that this is a lottery in a different way. You're hoping to open a vector. You want to have
Yeah.
4 rares that all point towards birds, or all point towards expend, or all
Maybe
point
not birds,
towards
but yeah.
graveyard. Well, yeah. So, and if you don't, you could open 5 really, really, really good rares, right? You open maybe the 5 different seasons or 5 different rare 2-color animal legends, but they just don't play together that often. It's just really hard to get some sealed pool with the synergy that you need to actually win games. I mean, I played a lot of Bloomborough sealed with the Winnabox. I did not get there on my first, second, or third try.
Yeah. It's a lottery, like you're saying. I definitely agree. I think I was blinded by a little nostalgia there for it, like thinking back on it. But you're right, there is some cracks in the. But it wasn't a bad set overall. Like
no,
it's still a 6 in my mind. Like it's still a good experience. You know, you're not like, why did I do this? You're not gonna like drop a game at your store. Like this is silly.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's actually. I almost see it as like a companion to Foundations, where I think once my students, and they haven't even done Foundations draft yet. I'm getting ready for that. But once they've done Foundations draft a couple times, I think the next set I would go to is Bloomborough.
Definitely, because the new mechanics aren't overly complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. It's a good introduction set to vector theory as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you're pretty spot on with that. And you know, the artwork and the themes of the set are very,
very appealing.
Very appealing. So definitely, I think it's a good way to go.
Yeah, there is something to be said where if you open a, I don't know, 2-color rare and it's a bat and it says other bats do this, you're like,
oh, cool. Yeah. Typal. Like this is Typal cards. Here's like,
yeah, I think I should take bats. And then you get that feeling where you wheel a bat. When you take like, I don't know, it wasn't Banishing Light in that set. You take like a Banishing Light over a bat and you're like, I think I can wheel this. And then you do. And you're like, I must be the only bat drafter. And then that's such a rewarding feeling in the draft process by itself.
Learning a lot. And you're like learning, hey, like synergies, like how do these cards work together? Like Foundations is a good example of that too, but Bloomborough, I think, narrows it down easier. Like you're saying, it has these key type of words, like the pack cards are going to work together.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a complete 180 with the next set, though, I got to say, because we were like cute and cuddly with Bloomborough. And then we go to Duskmourn. Like, what are we doing here, man?
This, man, if if MH3 was a 9.5, I think Duskmore might be like 8.5, 9. This
Yeah.
was an awesome draft format, an awesome sealed format. I love Duskmore.
I did too. It was like a hard time for me because it was like right away when like I was like my wife was like 9 months pregnant, like we're getting
Yeah.
serious. But we did the pre-release together and stuff like that, and I had a great time. Like it's like the Enchantress decks are pretty fun. Like there's a lot of synergies, a lot like MH3. There's a lot of like evolving strategies for me in this set. And I wish we could go back to it again. It's like one of those sets I wish I had another box of. Crack open now.
The Delirium and what was it called? Manifest Dread, right?
Oh yeah, that's another flip card. There's so many flip cards, man.
All this stuff. Yeah, Manifest Dread and Delirium paired together led to such an interesting take on the graveyard format, which we've seen graveyard formats before, but none of them really let Delirium shine before. And I think this one was just peppered with enough artifact creatures, enchantment creatures, the nightmares, the random little robot toys from the red-white aggro vector. It really all just kind of came together. There was the Reanimator deck in black-white. There was like the green-white survival deck that maybe that's the one knock against this format. Maybe like an 8.5, 8 is where this one lands from that. Because I love green-white.
Yeah, it didn't too great. I mean, the idea of the survivors was a really cool idea, and like it seemed good on paper. It just didn't get there, you know. And like you could look at this, like you can look at the box art from this set, and you're like, this is going to be a graveyard deck. Like you could just tell, like that was kind of going to be the strong synergy here, and obviously it was. I felt like the Abzan colors really shined in this format.
I don't really have much negative to say.
No, I wish Boros was a little better. I didn't really like the Boros like 2-power thing. I'm a Boros player.
Yeah,
whatever, I can get over it. I had a really fun time with the Enchantress deck, like the Fear of Isolation, bouncing things back to your hand and getting the recasts. It was a lot of fun for me. I turned 2 Fear of Isolation to bounce one of my lands back to hand. Like I just like it was stupid.
How'd that game go for you?
Not great, but I was like, I could still do this though.
Yeah. Go play the standard deck with Pixie and Fear of Isolation.
If you look at the pre-show notes, I did not like that deck.
Yeah. If you'd like to hear our take on standard, go check out on Patreon. We have a nice long pre-show today. Now, sorry to leave you out of this one, but I have to comment on CubeCon.
Definitely, man.
Which your wife was like about to give birth while this was so can't knock you for not coming. But
yeah, she was born 3 days after.
Yeah, so it's probably for the best that you didn't come. But CubeCon was, despite all of these amazing draft formats, I think CubeCon was the highlight of my year in Magic. It was the Magic community in a way that I hadn't really experienced before, where players from across the world, literally, came together in Madison, Wisconsin to play Cube, which, for those that are not familiar, that's a fan-curated, limited environment. I have a cube myself, the Draft Chaff cube, which we've been working on, tinkering with little bits here and there. And the Draft Chaff cube was actually in CubeCon as part of the tournament structure. So cube designers from all over bring their cubes and then actually have everyone play them. And we're talking all sorts of nonsense. There are cubes that are like fully foiled vintage cubes. You're playing with the Moxen, Time Walk, Black Lotus. I got to play a bunch of that. I pick one to Time Walk in one of those. Ooh, I was like, oh my God. This
I couldn't even touch that card.
I was afraid. And props to the organizers. This was a labor of love, but it flows so seamlessly. Like the app, everything that you had for it, the way you would take pictures of your pool before and after to confirm that no cards were missing. It honestly ran so smoothly. And shout out to our buddy Ryan, who was a big part of that. He was one of the event organizers. Now, there's also, on the other end of the spectrum, absolute nonsense that you would never even think to put together, only in the mind of Magic players. There was 100 Ornithopters cube, where there are 100 Ornithopters in the cube, and then the goal is to like play weird artifact combo decks. Like there's like Convoke, or like what's it called with artifacts? Affinity for artifact.
There's like Improvise.
Yeah, there's like Improvise affinity decks. There's like paradoxical outcome decks where you're trying to like impact tremors. You're trying to like play 15 Ornithopters, then return them all, then play them all again to ping. There's like utter nonsense. Yeah, like artifact ETB, draw a card. Like stuff like that. There's like themed ones. There was a horror movie themed one that stuck out in my memory. Companion Cube was a highlight where you get to, with old companion rules, pick any card from your draft and make it your companion. The nastiest one that I heard was Companion Thoughtseize, which you just don't play any other 1-drops in your deck. I companioned Birds of Paradise. So similarly, I just played no 1-drops and just went right to 3.
Yeah.
Anyway, CubeCon was a total blast. I would highly recommend it to anyone listening who enjoys limited Magic. Not if you've never played Cube before, that's fine. And I did actually do pretty well at CubeCon. I came in, I think, like 10th out of 550 some. And hold on.
I was going to say, we're not going to talk about the...
Where is she? We do have to address the Thraben Inspector in the room. This is maybe the best prize I've ever won in the Magic event. This is a giant, full-sized Thraben Inspector, which I won in a raffle. The way the raffles worked was you got prize tickets for each match win. And those raffle tickets could be exchanged for deck boxes, like just buying them with it, or you could enter them into drawings. And I think I put like 80 some raffle tickets into this, where most people were just putting like, 10, 20 in each. So while I didn't literally win this because of my tournament finish, it definitely, helped to do well.
Stack the deck in your favor.
Yeah. Made a lot of cool friends, met some other, small time content creators, lost to Luis Salvato twice. But yeah, you're gonna lose to Luis Salvato. He won that Pro Tour. But I also I would want to mention now that the whole tournament definitely took part in major factor because of this dude Jonathan Brostoff, who sadly took his life, a little bit after the event, and that kind of sent the whole community into disarray and mourning, which was honestly very upsetting. He's actually the one that chose my cube for the event. And from what I learned about him in the 3 days that I was there, he seemed like a really incredible community organizer and just like a local legend. Yeah. And he actually told me something really funny. He said about Thraben Inspector, when he saw that I'd won it, I was walking by, and he said, "Oh, you know what that card is? White Ancestral Recall." And I've been thinking about that ever since. So, there was a really good GoFundMe for donations for his family a while back. And I'm not exactly sure what that means about the future of CubeCon, but I really hope that it becomes sort of like a memoriam event for him in the future. Definitely. Because his passion for Magic and Cube and the community around him was so palpable, and it just made it an awesome travel experience to go there and experience this. And I'm not sure I would fly to many Magic events, but I would so go back to CubeCon.
I'm hoping to go next time too if it's going on, man. I'm upset I got to miss out with it. It seemed like a great event and great time.
We can cuddle on Ryan's couch.
There we go.
Now, shortly after that, about 5 days later, there was a big announcement. I think it was during some Magic Con or something. There was a panel called Foundations of Magic's Next Era. And we wanted to address this because it had some pretty important news regarding Magic. The first of which was actually a rules change, which I don't think that happens that often.
No.
So this rules change had to do with how blockers are assigned damage. Originally, it was blockers are ordered. Like you would put one in front of the other. Damage would be assigned in the order of the assigned blockers. Now, that phase doesn't exist anymore. Instead, damage is just distributed by the attacking player. Yeah. And if you'd like to respond and do something to one of the blocking creatures, it has to be before that damage is assigned. So basically, combat tricks that benefit blockers got worse. Yeah. The analogy that I used earlier when we were talking about this, that's a good analogy, right? Should I say that again?
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah, okay. So say there's a 4/4 that your opponent has attacked and you double block with 2 2/2s. And say one is really good and the other is really bad. And you have a combat trick in hand that gives +0/+10. Originally, your opponent would just, order probably the good one first in case you had a trick. And then the bad one second. and then you would cast that +0/+10, and then not only would your 2/2 survive because it's a 2/12 and the 4/4 doesn't kill it, but your other 2/2 would also survive. Now you would need to use that trick before damage is assigned at all, because the moment the damage is assigned, it just happens. So you would say use the +0/+10 on your good one. Your good one would definitely be able to live, but now your opponent has the chance to go, okay, I'm just going to deal 4 damage. I'm going to deal 2 damage to the bad one and 2 damage to the good one. So now they still get to kill your less good 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
And is this a huge change? Probably not. If you're thinking on this level, you're already a very talented limited player, and you probably can manage with this rules change, right?
It's still, but it's like I don't understand why this was implemented. You know, I obviously haven't been playing as much lately with everything going on, but I still fall victim to this, like on Arena. Like I'll pass through the phase thinking I have a chance to respond, and then I just get blown out. I'm like, oh, oops, I forgot about this rule change.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see, I guess, the implications of this kind of going forward. I haven't played it in paper yet, so I'm nervous. Like I'm gonna get into like an argument with somebody about this at some point.
Yeah,
but we'll see. You know, it is what it is, which is something we're gonna have to adjust to.
Yeah. Other things that were announced, MSRP is back.
That's good.
That's good. I guess that's good for the consumer. They announced that all Universes Beyond are standard legal now.
That's bad.
That's bad. I mean, all right. So it's I don't know.
I got my Wolverine set. I'm not mad.
But that thing isn't even standard legal. That's a secret layer.
Yeah, right.
So there's a Final Fantasy set coming next year. It's supposed to release in June. Oh no, this year now. My God. June of 2025. A full draftable standard legal Final Fantasy release. And I don't know anything about Final Fantasy.
No,
I don't really care about the IP as much. Is this the Disney one or no?
No.
What am I thinking of? That's Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah. I get them because they look the same in some ways. Lord of the Rings made sense as a Universes Beyond set. It translated extremely well to Magic. It's a high fantasy thing. I mean, it does have the word fantasy in Final Fantasy. It is not the same.
I don't know anything about Final Fantasy.
Neither do I. I know a very limited amount about Final Fantasy. And I think that's part of the issue for this. Like, the amount of people who even just understand Lord of the Rings, like conceptually, like what it is, versus people who know what Final Fantasy is very, there's like no crossover. Like, it just seems like a weird thing to do. It's a weird set. I don't love it. It feels removed from Magic to me.
It does.
Yeah.
And I'm a little nervous about how to approach it. Like, I don't care about the cards in this set, but I'm going to have to because I care about Magic and I care about Standard and I care about Cube and I care about
about limited formats. I care about I care about Magic. I don't care about this aspect of Magic. And it's like me playing this set and investing money in this set is only going to, I guess, influence Wizards of the Coast to continue with these things because obviously they're getting money. But I want to play Magic. You know,
I mean, I guess we're supposed to vote with our wallets on this one. Like, I'm probably not going to buy a box. I'm probably not going to do too many in-paper drafts.
What if it's like, what if it's a 10 out of 10 draft format? Like, what do you do at that point?
That would be really annoying because then they'd get confounding evidence. They would see that, oh, everyone's drafting it online. We got to do this more.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's like, I don't know. I worry about this sort of vibe.
Definitely.
This might not be egregious, and I do have to eat my words on the Lord of the Rings one because that was a good draft format, and I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and somebody got a ring.
yeah. And that was the gimmick around it too, you know.
But it made sense as a set. Like it felt like if you made that a set and didn't call it Lord of the Rings and you called it like Castle Warfare or like some thing, it makes sense as a Magic set.
You wouldn't have to change anything.
No. So I don't know. We'll see what the future Magic is, but I'm not loving this direction, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm a little pessimistic about it.
Pessimistic corn over
here? Yeah, exactly.
maybe this Final Fantasy set ends up playing really well with Magic, right?
Sure.
Maybe there's a lot of like stuff that, who knows, maybe it goes really well and we're like, oh, this actually isn't that bad.
And we were wrong. Like, this is best case scenario. Like, well, yeah.
Spider-Man full set releases later this year.
Yay!
Oh my God.
It just doesn't translate to Magic. Magic is high fantasy.
Mhm.
And I don't know, New York City in my Magic with Spider-Man, you know?
What is there going to be a vehicle called the L train?
And Spider-Man stopping it. Like,
Oh my god. So here's one thing, maybe a more optimistic approach to this. We can see this as Magic being a fundamentally great way to play a game. Magic,
sure,
I think, is the best, if not one of the best games ever made,
sure.
which is why it's so fun to play. And we are infecting other things. We're making Magic out of other IPs.
Are we like Phyrexians? Is this our oil?
Yes, the Phyrexian oil of Magic is seeping into other things, and maybe like a Spider-Man comic nerd gets into Magic because of this. That's good. But what if a Magic player who loves Magic IP, who's been playing since the old Dominaria releases, who loves the idea of Planeswalkers and their lore, what if that person stops playing because of this? And that, which will there be more of?
Sure.
Enfranchised diehard fans of Magic that stop playing, or fans of Spider-Man that start playing?
I was gonna say, like, why alienate your base? Like, why
Yeah.
not just focus on what Magic has great story and lore?
Yeah.
Why not expand upon it? You know, like it feels so silly to bring in an IP that might attract some new people, you know? But like, are those gonna be players or are those gonna be collectors? Like, hey, this is a cool Spider-Man thing. Like, let me look at this. Am I actually gonna sit down and learn to play this because of this? We'll have to see what the future brings. You know, at this point, we can only speculate. Obviously, I'm not a big fan, but I could be wrong. You know, who knows?
This is stuff that I would have liked to see relegated to secret layers. More as just collector pieces, not legal in any format. Because those, I mean, and even when they're still able to be opened in like regular booster packs, then that gives the whales incentive to like, you know.
We had like the Transformers thing. Like that was fine.
Yeah, that was fine. The One Ring is a good example of how that could go well.
Or too well.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I do like one aspect of it, and I actually like that they're making it standard legal in a way. If they're gonna make it, if it's gonna exist, I do think it should be as easy and accessible for people to play a format as possible. And I'd rather this set didn't exist.
I agree.
If it has to, I guess it's for the best that it becomes standard legal, because this reduces a complexity barrier, and Magic is complicated enough. Right?
Sure. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to play my Fortnite Boogie Bomb card in my next Commander deck. All right, I guess we can transition to a little more fun here. We actually have the Foundation set that came out. Oh my God, 2 months ago already? What? Like, that happened. This is a great set for so many aspects. It's a simple set for people to get introduced to Magic. Good cards, great for collectors. There's a lot of high-powered cards that can be used in multiple formats. I got to say, the draft format's been phenomenal. I don't know if you feel the same way or not.
I do, yeah.
The volume of the cards is fun. I don't really have many complaints about Foundations. It's actually been a great end cap to the year for me for Magic.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to talk about Foundations at all because we've been on hiatus. I love Foundations. I think it's exactly what it should be.
Yep.
If it were any simpler or any more complex, I think it would have missed the mark. I think it somehow nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah, I was going to say nailed the head. Yeah.
There's maybe a couple aspects of the format that could use a tweak. I think this is probably like another 8.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
There's black-green morbid, which doesn't work at all.
No.
And the format is fairly aggressive with blue-white and the blue decks, and so like the blue tempo-y decks.
Sure.
Kind of overpowering a lot. The white decks, when they get going early, some of their draws can just be unbeatable. I think there are a couple rares that are maybe like
a little too strong. Yeah.
Really, like, I actually think Arabo is one of those. Arabo is just so good. It's like if you manage to play another cat. I remember the first time I saw Arabo do that, I hadn't really understood what the card did until I was at an RCQ.
Starting to steamroll.
And my opponent went turn 2 Helpful Hunter, the cat that draws a card, into turn 3 Arabo. And I was like, wow, cat's deck over here. And then turn 3, they go Feldar Savior, the one that puts counters on, the life linker. And then they go, okay, make another cat. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, read this part of Arabo. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. oh, this game is just over. Like I can't do anything.
The cats are the strongest in the 5, like whatever subcategories you have in each color. Definitely.
Yeah, which
But
that's a
still
little
fun.
silly. But still, yeah, I'm glad that exists. I'm glad a new player will get to open Arabo
Yeah.
and go, this looks like I'm supposed to play cats at this, and then they just win the game in horrendous fashion because of it. I guess it's good for a player to have that experience.
Definitely.
I will say that the way the synergies have been peppered throughout are they create what I would call discovery moments, where in teaching and education, you want someone to learn something themselves as opposed to being told that.
Definitely.
You want someone to like figure something out on their own. And I discovered this was present in this format to a high degree when playing it with my students, where it was actually really funny. I think each of my 5 students that each opened a Planeswalker.
Oh, nice.
And which was great because I was like, this is awesome. I got to talk about the lore, and I've got a bunch of little baby gays. I've got a bunch of little baby gays in my club. And I was like, oh my God, like you opened Chandra. Yeah, she's dating Nissa. And they're like,
oh, we get the whole lore story.
And they're like, huh? Who's Nissa? I'm like, well, she's sort of like a cool and collected nature maiden.
Yeah.
But Chandra's like the hot-headed fire maiden. And the way that this set is presented in such a simple manner, they were all hooked right away. And it's gotten to the point where I start, like when I want to announce that we're meeting today, I post in my Google Classroom like, hey, Planeswalkers, like we're coming. And like it's really nice. Now, the specific instance that I want to mention is a student of mine was playing sort of like a big red-green deck. She had a Chandra in her deck, and she also had a Meteor Golem in her deck. And there was a turn that I was watching her play, and she's like, Mr. Fisher, I have Chandra, and I want to play this Meteor Golem. Can I still activate Chandra after that? Now, for the viewer, one of Chandra's modes is to copy a creature you control and give it haste. And I'm like, yes, you can do that after you play something. And she's like, so if I play the Meteor Golem and then activate Chandra? And I'm like, yeah, keep going.
Turning, yeah.
And then she's like, and I can do that again next turn? And her opponent at this point is like,
can I just go home?
What? Now, her opponent actually had a Vivian Reed out at the time.
Oh my God, dude.
She plays the Meteor Golem, kills the Vivian Reed.
That's brutal.
Yeah, copies it, kills this the 1/4 Death Touch Spider, the name I'm forgetting.
With the token,
and then swings in for like 15 damage. I'm like, yes.
Growing my power.
Yes, and I can say I've seen firsthand just the brilliant job this set does with hooking newer players, showing them all the fundamentals, and giving them that aspirational reach to be like, all right, I get the basics, and then I can do this too.
Yep. And it's great too. Like it's a great format for us draft players, but like this set's standard legal for, I mean, the near future, right? So like,
yeah,
these people,
5 years, I think.
Yeah, you have these new kids, like they're learning to play, and now they're building a collection that's going to be relevant for a while now, at least, you know, that they're going to be able to play and build their own decks out of, and it's just a great way for new players. Like, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
What a Burger King over here.
Now, last but honestly maybe least,
I haven't touched this set yet. I'm not going to lie. I haven't even cracked a pack on Arena of this, so I don't really have a place to stand on this one.
You're not missing much.
That's what I've been told.
There's a dichotomy in the set between gates, which is like a really slow, you know, there's gates in this set. There's gate payoffs in this set. There's gates ablaze. There's gatebreaker ram. Sure. There's, you know, there's some like multicolored bombs. I did have a pretty sick deck where if you're playing gates, you do like 5-color nonsense, right? Dinrova Horror is in the set for blue-black for a 4/4. Bounce a permanent to their hand, and then they discard a card. And Progenitor Mimic is in the set. It's 4 green-blue, 0/0, enters as a copy of any creature you control, and then on your upkeep, you copy it.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
So I did manage to get a clone Dinrova Horror going.
Okay, cool.
That was kind of sick. But on the other end of the spectrum, you have the white heroic decks, where red, white, and green, white, and you could do Naya, but I wouldn't recommend it. But they are both super well equipped to do Enchantress, Heroic, Bestow stuff. So like the Bestow cards from old Theros. And they've done some pretty interesting downshifts. We have Hero of Erois, which is maybe the most egregious of this. Was a rare heroic payoff, now a common heroic payoff. Hero of Lane, a Tower. I think that was originally a rare. I think it had been downshifted in a prior set, but that's either an uncommon or a common now as well. And then red has a bunch of good payoffs as well. Anax and Syme downshifted to an uncommon heroic payoff.
Wow.
That's the one that gives all your stuff like 1-0 and first strike and trample or something. Like it's good.
It's big shifts.
Yeah, so you get this meta very easily and quickly emerging of you have these hyper aggressive beatdown decks, and then you have these decks that are just hoping to survive. And there's not a lot of room in between. The stuff in between, there's like a blue-white Flyers deck. Well, Gates goes bigger than it. And it might be able to beat a good draw from Heroic, but it just gets outclassed by the Gates decks.
I think we touched on this briefly. Like this set isn't designed for draft. Like this was kind of like a last minute shoe-in type of thing. Like this is just to get these cards on Arena. I feel like Wizards of the Coast was like, why not make it a draft format? I don't agree with that. Like Pioneer has been a paper set for now. You know, we had Explorer obviously in Arena for a bit. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they would downshift cards that doesn't translate well to paper. Like I feel like that's just another confusing aspect. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Whatever.
I like complaining today. Apparently, the last 3 months I've just been stewing and wanting to
got to get it all out.
Get it all out today.
In this set's defense, it does have a rotating bonus sheet, which I do like.
I didn't know that.
The first set was Planeswalkers. They just put a bunch of Pioneer legal Planeswalkers on. I think now it's spells, and I don't even know what comes next. So it is a set that I'd like to check back in on every once in a while.
Fun.
I think
so. Are those new cards in the bonus set, or are these cards that already existed in Arena? Or are these introducing?
Yeah. So like new cards. I think this is their way of just saying like we wanted to dump even more cards on, but we couldn't fit it all in one set, so we're just going to rotate them in and out. I like that. I don't know which set the Arena Open will be for, which bonus sheet, because I guess it doesn't make too much sense to prepare for like a different format than it's going to be. But
that's fun. That's like an ever evolving format. That's kind of fun. All right.
I don't know. Should be fine.
Yeah.
And well, that's all 2024.
What a year.
What a year. Honestly,
not bad.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
A couple little blips here and there. But honestly, if given the chance to re-roll it, I would not.
Definitely.
Now, coming up, we have Innistrad Remastered, which comes out later this month.
Yeah, soon.
I don't really know what's going on in that set.
Yeah.
It's like old
I don't even know
what's
in there. Yeah, I don't know. What's that spider card that's really fun?
Spider
spawning. Yeah, so
that's good.
In there. Yeah, we'll see. We got the first real standard set coming out in February. Tokyo Drift.
We're gonna overdrift. You ever seen that? That's like an old. Oh shoot!
No,
it's like an old YouTube movie about
YouTube
drifting.
poop.
It's of that level. It's from the old era of the internet where people just made stuff. It's about drifting into the D dimension. It's not the drift dimension, it's the dinosaur dimension.
Ooh.
Dinosaurs went extinct because they drifted too hard or something like that. It's like I gotta look that up. I don't remember what it's called, but
I used to love Wacky Racers. Have you ever seen Wacky Racers on like Boomerang growing up?
Nah.
No, it's like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon that's basically like all these like weird vehicles and stuff, and it's a race. Every episode it's the same cars. That's how this set feels to me. And I'm kind of excited for that aspect. But it's also a very strange set. Like, where are we at this point?
I'm not excited for the Mario Kart aspect of this. It's like I read the lore drop describing the 10 racing teams. It's the two color pairs, obviously.
Yeah.
They're like they're tying in all sorts of nonsense. There's a team of like sharks from some plane that no one's ever heard of before. I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. They are starting to tease, a later set coming this year, Edge of Eternities, coming in August, which is like a space themed.
Ooh. Instead of those
like,
lands.
Yeah. Space themed, like across the planes. Maybe it's like a Blind Eternities.
I was gonna say Blind Eternities. Like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So is Eldrazi back?
Who knows? In any case, there's a bunch of teams from planes that no one really knows anything about. I like that they're still committed to like expanding Magic world building. Maybe the one I found most compelling, I think they didn't actually say which color is which. It was pretty obvious. I think this one's black white, but it's a hive mind of robots, and it's all just like one intelligence that they just got stranded after coming through an omen path, and they're like, we don't actually know where we are.
Let's race.
Let's race. So that should be interesting.
Cool. No, I mean, I'm excited. It's different. We'll see though. But after that, I don't know. We're going back to, I guess, one of my favorite planes, Tarkir.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah. And so this is Dragonstorm, which I believe is like the new lore. Like this is like the new big story, overarching story is this like Dragonstorm. So I'm curious to know where that's going to go. I'm sure Loot's going to be involved in this somehow, but we'll see. Was Loot in the Aethergriff story?
There was only, from last I checked, a description. It was almost like a very cut and dry description of like what each of the teams were.
Gotcha. Introduction.
Now, I may be misremembering.
Okay.
But I believe there is a team in the race from Duskmorn, piloted by Winter, who we thought died, and who we thought was like eaten by Valgavoth, whatever, and co-piloted by Loot.
You said these were 2 color sets. That's
oh my god.
All right, so that's fun. Okay. Loot's here to stay.
I don't know. Like, something is happening with Loot. Dragonstorm, whatever. Final Fantasy comes in after that. We don't have to go
too much into that. Yeah.
Edge of Eternities is after. The space themed. It looks like what's that guy? Tezzeret is going to be involved in that.
Oh, nice. Somehow. It's been a minute since we've seen him.
And then Spider-Man.
Dun-dun-dun. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I like Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. This Universe is Beyond, like, not Universe is Beyond, Jesus. Spider-Man, the multiverse, whatever thing we're in.
The Spider-Verse
Miles
movies.
Morales.
I those movies.
Super good. I don't like it in my magic. Don't mix my peanut butter and chocolate, you know?
Yeah. And then some other unnamed Universes Beyond set. And I don't know. How deep is the well on this?
That's the issue. Like, once we open Pandora's box, we're here, right? Like,
but how many good IPs can you pull out of the well before you start hitting the dirt?
Well, we got I mean, we have Star Wars, Star Trek that could hit still. Yeah. I mean, what Universes Beyond set you think would be like the best? Like, what would be the answer? Like, we had Monty Python. It would be cool if they had like a full Monty Python set. We had the Secret Lair, but like,
there are a couple that I do think could
translate pretty well,
really work. I think Avatar would be good.
Wait, which Avatar?
Actually, either. To be honest, but I would prefer the animated one.
Yes. Okay.
Adventure Time. I think we would both.
Adventure Time would.
We both put up our hands and be like, "All right, fine."
I would do an Adventure Time one.
Yeah, I could see some other ones. I mean, there's other good brands out there.
There's good brands. It's just so hard to. It's just like a balance thing, man. It's like, it's like I don't want all my hobbies to come into one, you know?
Yeah.
We'll see though.
Let's hop into Teferi Tibalt, our roses and thorns. That was a lot of magic. Let's talk life. What's been a high and a low? And this maybe, I guess we could stick to the past week since we already sort of caught up on our past couple months.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Teferi for the last week, Rose. It's nice to get back on the podcast, you know, like actually like talk about magic for a little bit. It's been pretty good. It's been nice to see you. It's been a minute since I've even looked at your beautiful face. So that's nice. Missed you too. Thorn is I started my new job 2 weeks ago. I'm back in the office 5 days a week, like a normie. So it's good. It's more rewarding in a weird way to be in the office. Like, I feel like I'm able to separate my lives a little bit. But it's an adjustment, you know, everything getting used to. Accounting isn't really the most exciting thing in the world, but it is what it is.
For what it's worth, I think you'd be a great coworker to have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's hope my other coworkers agree. How about you, man? How's your last week been?
Well, I guess I can start with Tibalt, which is that I'm currently sick. I took a COVID test this morning. I'm like drinking tea with honey and all that.
Tis the season
thing. Yeah. Hopefully it hasn't translated too poorly into the recording. A rose is I did a coaching session with Autumn Burchett.
Nice.
Who they were a winner of one of the Arena Mythic Championship things, the equivalent of the Pro Tour when they briefly tried to be an esports
Yeah.
thing. God, thank God for Huey Jensen coming in and fixing all that. And the coaching sessions with them have been like I've done one so far, and I've won another schedule for Monday. I don't think I'm going to do too many more because honestly, I feel like they really helped me figure out what my issue was, which I was playing standard and trying to do well, and I had an abysmal win rate. I was winning like 49% of my matches, which
Yeah.
compared to my limited win rate, I know I can do a lot better. And I just couldn't really figure out why. And they sort of slapped some sense into me, just being like, just pick a deck
Yeah.
and practice with it instead of bouncing around to the many different ones that you're trying. And I picked Jeskai Convoke, and I've been doing really well with it. I have a positive win rate against everything but blue-black, which is the best deck in the format. So I don't know. If you beat everything that tries to beat the best deck in the format, that's something.
Pretty
right?
good. Yeah, no, definitely. Glad those lessons are doing pretty well. You know, our friend Ryan used to do those types of things, and it's something I've always been interested in because who doesn't want to improve at what they like? So cool, man. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And with that, wow. First episode
2025.
after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be back. And
Definitely.
we're going to do our best to get back on a regular schedule.
Regular schedule. I'd hope so. Yeah. Hoping to get back into the Friday schedule. You know,
Mhm.
obviously kids are unpredictable, but we're going to try our best.
Yeah. Full disclosure, like Tyler being a dad takes priority over our Magic the Gathering podcast.
Yeah, life
if something comes up, like
Yeah.
I will not hesitate to be like, all right, let's push it. Let's record when we can. But so listener, we appreciate your patience. And to our beloved patrons, if that makes you want to cancel, honestly, that we understand. But we will do our best to remain as consistent as possible.
Definitely.
But you know, life is full of mystery and unpredictability. Yes. And despite that, we will still be back and talking about Magic. You can expect the Discord to be a bit more poppin' now that we're back too. We've been sort of taking a break from that because not that it's work, but almost it almost starts to feel like it is. Not that we don't appreciate all the friendships.
No, yeah, I miss talking to everybody in the Discord, obviously, but it's just another layer to life right now, and life is very busy right now. So, but I'm hoping to get more active. I think we're both trying to get more active, post some more trophies. Hoping to get some trophies because it's been a hot minute since I've gotten a trophy.
Yeah,
I'm having withdrawal symptoms.
The Twitter also you can expect to be back to its usual posting nonsense, which you know. There will be nonsense.
And look out for that giveaway on that Twitter too. Don't forget.
That's right. If you're listening to this and haven't entered, the usual way to enter is just to go follow like the post and repost it. So, you know, the usual entry stuff. And, you know, if you're lucky, you could have an MH3 box in the mail to you pretty soon.
Nice.
A little sign off for us today. I thought it'd be nice if we talk about our Spotify Wrapped. Now, you have Spotify, yes?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. How many minutes did you have before we jump into like...
Well, I was going to say, should we talk about our Spotify
I'll talk about our
first?
person. All right. Let me pull it up. Is it still going?
I forget. Let me see. At the very least, it gives you your top songs of the year, right?
That's what I'm trying to check. I posted mine on Instagram, so I'm wondering if I still have it. Okay, it's still up.
I see. Oh, can you see your Wrapped or only top songs?
I can see my Wrapped. I just search it in the search bar.
Oh yeah.
How many minutes did you have this year? I'm curious if you beat me.
It's not coming up for me actually. Oh wait, is it?
It's like it's called like The Game.
The Game? What?
Like if you look up, if you go on like on Spotify, just like search Wrapped 2024.
I'm on the Spotify app. Is that going to affect it?
I'm on the app on my phone.
Oh, let me do that.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't work as well on the
I'll run through mine real quick while you're trying to pull yours up too. So I had 39,000 minutes, which I'm pretty proud of. It's not bad. Oh, Ben, we're gonna get copyright strike.
I found it.
All right, top artist.
39,000.
Top artist this year. 39. Like, you can skip to the end on the video, or like whatever. Like yeah, like
I don't know how that.
What are you, boomer? Dude, I gotta explain how to work your iPhone.
Oh wow, I only had 23,000. You said 39.
Slacker. All right, who's your number one artist this year?
Bon Iver.
Ooh, okay, not bad. That's a good one. I had Fruit Bats. You familiar with Fruit Bats?
Fruit Bats? No, I'm not.
Oh my god, dude, he's a great artist. I highly recommend. I think you'd like him a lot, actually. And I had Hosier, TV Girl. I had Andrew. So Has Been Hotel came out this year. Are you familiar with Has Been Hotel?
I've heard about Has Been Hotel.
Dude, I kept listening. It's like Broadway style music, and I kept listening to it. And unfortunately, it cracked the top 4, which is embarrassing, but it is what it is. And then the Greeting Committee is my number 5.
Greeting Committee is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember responding to that.
Yes, on
like,
Instagram. Yeah.
I'm a big fan. You ever listen to the Beths?
Maybe, dude. I'm so bad with the artist name. Yes.
It's probably my focus.
We're both blurry, I think.
Yeah. I've been. It's sort of like that nice upbeat pop rock that kind of hits.
Nice. I'll check them out if you check out Fruit Bats. Fruit Bats was my favorite this year.
Actually, it looks like I have a couple songs saved by them.
Sure. Bottom of It was my number 1 song by them this year.
Bottom of It. All right, I'll add that right now. Humbug Mountain Song.
That was my number 3 this year.
Wow, nice. I don't remember what they sound like. I can't listen to them off the top of my head, but yeah, cool. I had actually as my second top artist, I had Childish Gambino, which I listened to a lot because I liked his new album. Twerp Tupperware Remix Party.
I don't know them.
They're an insane band. They do like synth funk pop.
Okay.
They're a small band. I think they're so funny and just so good.
Right.
They have like
send them in the Discord. I want to listen to that.
Will do. This one's a little embarrassing, but Nicholas Britell, who did the soundtrack to I think it was Andor that I was listening to on repeat a bunch, and actually Billie Eilish, whose
nice.
Recent albums I got pretty into. But I actually don't think my top artists is very representative of.
That's why I don't trust Spotify. Like I feel like it's never like. I feel like mine's fairly accurate this year, but in years past, I'm like, it was like Green Day, and I was like, I think I listened to like 3 Green Day songs that year, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, my actual top song this year was "Misses" by Dominic Fike.
Okay.
And then I had "Tiny Moves" by Bleachers.
Nice. Okay.
Bleachers fan. "Many Times" by a band called Dijon, who them and Mick G. I listened to a lot of Dijon and Mick G this year. Jordy Greep, Holy Holy. I love this song. It is insane. That might be my favorite song of the year.
Nice.
And Soup by Remy Wolf.
Okay. All right, Remy Wolf. Nice. Okay. Pretty good lists.
Yeah.
My top songs were like all by the same artist. Yeah, Bottom of It, Humbug Mountain Song were both by Fruit Bats. I had Lover's Rock by TV Girl. You know, I mean, TV Girl's like every song right now, basically. Is This It by the Grading Committee was top 4 for me.
Great
good song.
Yeah.
And then I had Yellow Eyes, which is I don't remember the artist for Yellow Eyes, but it's a nice song too. It was a good year though for music. You know who's like Ratafia has like the most eclectic music tastes. I want to see his Spotify Wrapped. I'm so curious to know like what the spread is on his.
Yeah. All right, so here's the Draft Chaff.
I didn't even know we get one of these for us.
Yeah,
so
we
I'm
do.
Super curious.
Let's see. 34% increase in followers. If you're listening and haven't followed, I mean, you can increase us for next year a little bit.
This is pretty nicely set up too. I like this.
Yeah, it's a little annoying to scroll through. I have to keep scrolling a bunch.
Oh.
59% of our list. Oh, so what?
Yeah, I'm curious. Give it up for your new fans.
Oh, so 59% of our listeners were like new this year.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, discovery.
Okay.
Fans have a clear favorite. Hey, the Surrogates deep dive.
The one episode I wasn't on. Let's go.
Look, Surrogates has reach.
No, yeah, I agree. No, great guy.
Let's see.
Wow. That's
pretty good.
Actually.
Well done, Circo. I'll have to tell him about that one. Like now, it won't let me. All right. Who's our audience? I don't know if I want to know this.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this like divert? All right.
That
makes sense. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah.
No, this is probably representative of Magic players,
right?
I
agree. Yeah, definitely. Maybe that's why they're trying to get the Gen Z players in with the Universe Beyond.
Wow, we crushed it with.
Let's go.
What?
Math's not math.
I think the math is a little sus there, but whatever. Come on, scroll.
No, why don't you
scroll? I'm furiously scrolling. All right, where in the world have you?
I'm assuming the United States.
This is pretty cool.
Ooh,
31 countries.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is hurting my eyes.
Yeah. Usually it shows us which countries. I mean, I heard that Spotify kind of beefed it with the Wrapped this year because they like laid off a bunch of their employees to use AI instead. So
hell yeah, man. I love the future.
It's my favorite. Oh, other podcasts our listeners also liked.
That
LR,
makes sense.
Lords,
Makes sense.
Level Ups.
Makes sense. Whoa, wait, hold on. Number 4. What the? Whoa. Keep going. Don't look at it. Don't give him any.
Command
Zone.
Zone.
We might have to cancel the podcast.
I don't know what to say. I'll say this. I think the appeal of Joe Rogan is the sort of the populist appeal, right?
Sure.
Like I don't know about this thing. I want to learn more about it. There's a sort of ubiquity to that approach
and it's
that I have to respect.
Yes, and it's hard to argue that he is entertaining to listen.
Yeah, he's an entertainer.
You know what I mean? Like that's what it comes down to. Like
I do think he's one of the biggest idiots in media
yes.
right now.
All right.
If you're listening to this and you go, "Oh my God, I'm going to stop listening to Draft Chaff because of Ben's opinion on Joe Rogan,"
he's presented by Call of Duty Black Ops. We're okay.
I think Joe Rogan's going to be fine. That is funny. I mean, statistically, I guess that just kind of makes sense, right?
Is this talking about music choices now? Yeah, music. All right, rap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So our listeners
soundtrack. Okay,
cool.
Interesting.
Pop. Neat.
Makes
nice.
sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Nice.
I'm a big history guy.
They can't keep our eyes off us.
Oh, neither can I.
I know.
Your show is in the.
Oh,
nice.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Top 10% of video.
I didn't realize they separated the videos from the. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. Scroll. Biggest fans keeping us at the top of the game. You're a top 10.
This is hurting my eyes, dude. Yeah.
What is this design? 110 fans. We were one of their top podcasts. Nice. And we're a top 5 show for 34 fans.
Ooh.
Nice. The number 1 show for
Let's
7
go.
fans. Hey,
shout out to you, 7.
Any of you 7 listening, if you can prove that to us somehow in the Discord, I'll send you a bunch of arena codes. I'll just take a picture of a bunch and send.
Hell yeah,
that's
dude.
Awesome. Scroll.
I was gonna say, are we stuck?
What kind of creator are you?
What kind of creator are we?
Deeper. I'm scrolling, but it's not doing anything. What?
What?
What is this?
We got the Mox. What is it? The Mox Amber? What is
this? Can I click on this? This is stupid.
This is so weird.
This is stupid. Your fans have entered the conversation. Oh,
let's go.
Let's go. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
This feels like a PowerPoint slideshow.
Are we done? Is this over now?
I think we're done.
We're done.
That was something.